based on Numbers 28:30. Before the Israelites entered the Promised Land, God reminded them how to honor Him through offerings and special celebrations. It was a time for the people to remember that all blessings came from Him and that their lives should always be centered around His worship. God spoke to Moses, saying, "Give this command to the Israelites. Make sure that you present to me food offerings made by fire as a pleasing aroma." Every day they were to offer 2 lambs, one in the morning and one at twilight. It was a symbol that God should be at the beginning and the end of every day. On the Sabbath day they offered extra lambs, showing that the 7th day was holy and dedicated to rest and worship. God wanted His people to pause often, to reflect, give thanks, and stay close to Him. Next came instructions for the monthly offerings and annual feasts. These celebrations were not just about food, but about joy, gratitude, and remembering God's faithfulness. The Passover feast reminded them of how God delivered them from slavery in Egypt. 7 days after that, the Feast of Unleavened Bread showed purity and dependence on God. Then there was the Feast of Weeks, or Pentecost, which celebrated the harvest and thanked God for His generous provisions. The Feast of Trumpets followed, marking a day of rest and reflection as a new season began. The Day of Atonement came soon after, a deeply sacred day when the people confessed their sins, asking God for forgiveness and mercy. Finally, the Feast of Tabernacles, or Booths, celebrated the time when God's people had lived in tents in the desert, reminding them that even there God provided everything they needed. Each feast and offering carried a lesson. The daily offerings reminded them to stay devoted. The Sabbath taught them the importance of rest. The feasts of the year taught them to remember and rejoice in what God had done. Together they formed a rhythm of worship that kept their hearts close to the Creator. God also gave Moses laws about making promises or vows. If someone made a vow to the Lord, it had to be kept. God wanted His people to be honest and faithful, showing that their words had meaning. Making promises to God was serious. It showed love, trust, and a true desire to obey Him. As the people listened to all these commands, their hearts were reminded that they belonged to God entirely. He had led them faithfully through the wilderness, and soon they would live in a land overflowing with goodness. But even in that new home, their first duty was to remember Him, the one who never forgot them. Moral: remembering God in praise, worship, and honesty keeps our hearts faithful. Each day is an opportunity to show our love for Him. Prayer. Dear God, thank You for teaching me to remember You in all things. Help me to live each day in worship, honesty, and gratitude. Fill my heart with joy as I celebrate Your goodness. Amen. Please don't forget to share, like, and subscribe. Thanks.